Alright, so just as promised yesterday during my live stream, we are back today with a roadmap towards all of the updates that we're going to be receiving starting from July leading up all the way to October. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, man, we have a lot to go over. There is quite a bit of details, and on top of that, we also already have pretty much the updates for like the next 3 weeks literally in the pipeline already. So we're going to go over everything, a little bit more context than what you guys have actually seen from the image itself. And then of course, we're going to create a discussion in the comment section to hear what you guys think about everything. And of course, what you would like to see with some of these different events that are going to be going on, or I guess major content updates. So with that being said, we have now transitioned over to the brand new roadmap. And as you can see, man, we basically have 4 months worth of major content updates. And then at the very bottom down here, the sort of orange yellow ones here, these are going to be sort of like the big updates, but not really the major ones, because the major ones would be these up top. It's sort of a confusing thing to explain, but in the current state of Fisch, the way that it kind of works is that we have major updates, big updates, and then the filler updates, which are usually like masteries or like a random migration, kind of like what we had this weekend, basically. Either way, let's go ahead and jump into this. So if you guys remember the first roadmap, all of these ones in the bottom were kind of just scattered around. We were getting them as they were sort of working on them, but this time around, it has been confirmed that they are very much coming out exactly how you're seeing it. Now that's a perfect segue so that we can go ahead and now talk about the events that are already available in the front page of Fisch. At the time that I'm recording this video, it is Sunday, which means that we've got ourselves a fresh new week coming up. And if you notice, in 5 days, we are going to be receiving Roaming Fisch. In the description for this event, there is far more context. It says we are introducing physically roaming fish to all waters across Fisch. Spot a fish below and fish nearby it for a good chance of a catch, and feel free to use spears if you'd like. This was actually something that was mentioned during the Q&A live stream over on TikTok, where they basically said that what they wanted to do and kind of what they had the vision for is basically like, hey man, we're sort of just driving around in the water, just sort of minding our own business, and then boom, all of a sudden right here on the side of the water, I see a mustard swimming, and I'm like, dude, I need that mustard. Let me go ahead and start fishing right next to the mustard that I see in the water. And that's going to increase the possibility for me to get that mustard specifically, instead of sort of just fishing in a region and hoping that I'm able to get this thing. It sort of adds this new element of kind of like fishing in real life, I guess. I mean, I don't know, dude. This is one of those things that in writing seems like a really cool idea, but at the end of the day, it really just all depends on how it's executed. Now, of course, this concept technically already exists in the game inside of Lost Jungle, specifically for spear fishing and all that stuff. And I'll be completely honest with you, no one ever uses this. I mean, maybe during cruise is the most I ever got to use this for doing like the quest and the challenges and stuff like that. But besides that, I don't think I've ever used spearfishing, which is really unfortunate, but it is sort of an interesting little twist to the game, assuming they sort of evolve it from this point that it's in right now. I mean, honestly, I think it's pretty safe to say that they more than likely are going to evolve the system itself, because the week after next week, being July 25th, we're going to be getting the second thing listed right here in the roadmap, which is Harpoon guns. And for the description of this, it says, try out a new method of fishing. Harpoon guns. Each harpoon gun will have its own unique stats, passive, and overall feel. They'll pair beautifully with the introduction of roaming fish and will allow for unique playstyles. Try to discover and collect them all with this introductory update. So again, I sort of feel like they're gonna kind of evolve this system right here, and it isn't gonna be exactly what we're seeing. As much as, you know, it hurts to say this, spearfishing has kind of been like forgotten content. I know that people hate when I say that, because I know that there is someone out there that more than likely genuinely enjoys spearfishing. Not everyone is as sweaty as literally the handful of us, and not everyone cares about making billions of cash. Some people just play the game to just literally play the game. But either way, man, it's going to be really cool. Now, of course, I am saying that from the perspective of someone that's like just reading this in writing. In the words of Nick, according to what they're saying, these are going to be the absolute best updates pretty much ever to Fisch. Aside from all of that, they've also pretty much told the entire community that they need to raise their expectations, which is a very brave thing to say to something like the Fisch community, because, well, we know how that usually goes whenever the Fisch community is not happy. Trust me, I know. Now, either way, this part is kind of interesting to me because there technically was 4 different major updates, so I kind of just assumed that the Deep was in July, but I guess not. I mean, they're leaving this for August 1st, so maybe they left it for August 1st because technically speaking, they may want to switch over to kind of have major updates out at the beginning of the month rather than usually how they do it, which is towards the end or kind of like somewhat a little bit towards the middle of the month. But either way, first major update is slated for August 1st. It says discover and explore what roams below the sea to an unmatched depth with our major update, the Deep. Unlike other notable areas, this one will be quite the open space, perfect for exploration and uncovering the beauty. Find new rods, spears, harpoon guns, and catch an entirely new bestiary that is fully based on real life fish. So again, like I mentioned before, they are very much going to be shifting on over to really focusing on the spear fishing as well as harpoon guns, mixing them in obviously with the fishing rods. I think honestly it's a pretty cool idea. You can only do so much passive wise with fishing rods, but when you start introducing different other mechanics like spear fishing as well as harpoon guns, you can sort of play around a little bit more with the different passives that you can come up with. So I don't know, man. I think that's pretty cool. Now, coming back over here to the roadmap, this kind of changes everything because Skycrest is technically supposed to be the major update after the Deep. But the thing is that this one is labeled as technically the grand finale for Fish Fest. Fish Fest, to my knowledge, if I remember correctly, ends September 5th, but I need to confirm that. Hold on. Yes, that is 100% correct. So it ends Saturday, September 5th, which in my opinion makes this entire thing really confusing. I don't really understand how this is going to work, because if they're dropping the Deep August 1st, then that means that Skycrest has to sort of drop somewhere between the end of August or the very first week of September. But then again, that also now creates another scenario where Forsaken Trench is technically going to have to release either at the beginning of October or at the very end of September in order for Fish Fright to release sometime in October, which ideally would probably be either the first week of October or maybe even the second week. So it all sort of makes sense, and they can then work on Fish Giving as well as obviously Fish. It's a little bit weird how they space these out. I feel like the Deep should have been at the end of July, but again, I'm not trying to like rush anybody here. I'm just saying, like, from a timeline perspective, that would make sense. And then of course, you have all of these other updates that are going to be mixed into all of this. You have the Astro Observatory and Mariana's Awakening, which I don't really know about the Astro Observatory, but Mariana's Awakening is something that I talked about briefly in my last leak video, where they did touch bases that they want to sort of redo all of Mariana's Veil, as well as also including some new content inside of there. So that's more than likely what we're going to be seeing sometime more than likely in September. Then of course you have boat racing, which we kind of already have, but it is sort of related to Fish Fest. So it looks like they're just going to turn it into like some permanent content, which is great. I feel like a lot of people enjoyed that. And then of course the really big one, Nate's Quest, is finally going to be in the game. It looks like it's going to be a little bit closer towards the end of September, assuming this timeline is sort of correct. You get me? Either way, with the big bang here obviously being at the very end, we've got ourselves an encore, aka a music venue 2 takeover. Or I guess it would be a music venue takeover 2. That's what I meant to say. Brand new developer rods in theory. And honestly, at this point, I think it's even possible that we might see inside of their developer harpoon guns, developer spears, you know, obviously assuming this all goes great and dandy for that whole new system. Overall, man, really exciting, but again, we'll see how it all plays out. We're going to get our first taste of this starting this weekend with the introduction of the free roam. At this time, I want you to go to the comment section. Let me know how you guys feel about this. What's your opinion? What are your concerns? And of course, what are some things that you would like to see in any of these updates? Just make sure that you specify what update it is that you're talking about. With that being said, any other additional information that gets put out there, I will make sure to bring you guys a updated video. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.